All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time of day it is that you are tuning into this, wherever you are. Haribol. Aho. Namaste. Welcome. My name is Josh Kane. And this is my daily... This hat's kind of doing me a thing here. This is my daily satsang. It's pretty simple. I wake up, and in order to get myself into the right state of mind and make an offering to divinity, I read through the Bhagavad Gita. I've been doing this since the beginning of the pandemic. And I've been reading the book for a long time and practicing yoga, teaching yoga for a while. And this just felt like the right thing to do. It felt like it was time to ground into my spiritual life. And I mean, I'm already pretty steeped in spiritual life, but the combination of wanting to keep the knowledge of the Gita. Namaste. Good morning. Good to see you. Hope you slept well. Hope you're feeling well today. So in order to keep the knowledge of the Gita in the forefront of my mind, and to give myself a task, a holy task, and also to practice being in front of the camera and getting more comfortable as a creator in this whole process. Those were kind of my three reasons, my three whys for doing this. And so far what I'm learning is that, and this is for people, this is not necessarily, I mean, it's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual concept, but something that I'm learning is it seems like such a big deal in my mind, and it seemed like such a big deal in my mind to create something like this and then to share it and to put it out into the world. It seems like, oh my God, everybody's going to see it. It has to be a certain way. It has to be, it has to be professional, or it has to be whatever. And it's really not true. Only there's so few people that see this right now. And it really takes the pressure off. It really, truly takes the pressure off for it to be anything more than exactly what it is, which is an offering. And it's a medium, it's a resource for spiritual knowledge and for spiritual ideas and for all kinds of ideas. There's so many things, like there's so many videos that get made that, like, it's not surprising. If I was to make a video of, like, 10 tips on how to wax your eyebrows properly with an interview with my cat, I'd probably get like 10 billion views. But because I'm sitting here talking about the Bhagavad Gita, and maybe it's because I haven't hashtagged it and I'm not like, whatever. It's a lot of fish in a really, really big pond. And that's kind of how we all are. Everyone's sort of swimming in their own direction in life. And we think that there's going to be so much concern with the things that we do and the things that we're attempting to achieve. And reality is just not that many people care. They're into themselves, and that's a good thing, because people are on their path, they're in their dharma, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. And I guess the whole point of this is that if you've been feeling like there's something that you want to do, feeling like you have a dream about something, or you have a goal for something, even if you make the effort and you complete that goal in the teeniest, tiniest way, in even the most minuscule way, it feels really good. It feels really good to get that goal done, especially if it's something that scares you. And it will grow over time if the goal is truly meaningful to you. It is truly a value to, and it really is connected with your heart's purpose, then it's something that you're going to continue to work on. It's going to be something that you're going to continue to do. And it will continue to bring value into your life. Not because of the money and not because of recognition or because of status or anything like that, but because it's what you enjoy doing. And that's the point of this. I enjoy doing this. And it's a part of my life. And, it's also a primary message of the Gita, of this book that we read, this spiritual scientific text of yoga, is that you have a reason, you have a purpose. There's a reason why you're here in this body, in this epic, and this lifetime. And you're given tools and opportunities to enact that purpose. And the way in which you choose to live your purpose and the focus, the quality of your attention and the quality of your life while you are living that purpose, amidst all the distractions of the material world and this external temporary circumstance. Those are all the main questions that get brought up here. And they relate back to a very simple concept, that it's all God. So it's all God. So it's all good. Everything that's been created has an essence, which is creation. So I can sit here and I can take a watch, a wool hat, and a book. The watch, the wool hat, and the book, they're all made of different things. They serve different functions. And they look different. They look totally different than each other. However, there is a sameness to them, which is that even though their outward material appearance is different and their outward material function is different, at their essence, what they are is created. They are created things, created, you can even call them beings. They're non-living in a way. A watch kind of has a life because a watch, tells time and it has movement. The book has life because it tells a story and it holds within its pages an energy. But it's not like you can have a conversation with any of these objects. They're totally non-physical, right? But they have a creative essence to them. They each have a body. They have matter, like the hat. The matter of the hat is the wool, and it's got this flexy shape. And the matter of the book, it has the pages, and it's solid. It doesn't mush and flex like the hat does, right? So they have different properties and different qualities, and each thing makes it unique. But at its essence, again, because we're searching for the essence, we're searching for the truth here through the satsang. The satsang is a truth circle, and it's spiritual truths, it's divine truths, and it's different than something like a mastermind or a motivational, discussion group where the desired outcome is very different. Here, we're coming here to lift our spirits, and we're here to look for the essence within all things, the beauty, the connection, the eternal within all things. And we do that to help purify our minds, purify our bodies, purify our consciousness, so that when we approach our own life and we look at people, we look at physical entities, or we look at animals, right? We say, oh, here's a person with blonde hair. Here's a person who's very old. Here's a person who's very young. Here's a person who's dressed very nicely. Here's a dog with white spots. Here's a cat with yellow spots. Here's a bird that sings beautifully. Here's a bird that sings not so beautifully. Here's all these different living entities. They're all in different structures, all in different casings, all in different sheets. But at their essence, they are created, just like the book, right? And when we say that it's all God, so it's all good, it means that everything that is made, everything that we can observe, whether living or non-living, and even getting down to the point of our thoughts, where in my secret mind, in the secret world of my third eye chakra or my imagination, what I see there what is manifested there, even though non-physical, is a creation. And it shares the same properties of light and color and energy as that which is manifested. In fact, some people would say that in the thought form, it's actually more powerful than it is in the physical form. But that's a whole other story. So thought realm, non-physical creation, the material realm and the material mode of nature, physical creation. At their essence, they're rooted in the same, they're potted in the same soil, basically. They all come from the same place. And that place, one, is all-knowing. Two, there's a piece of it within you, within me, within every single person. And all of this, everything that we see, experience, and come into contact with, both physical and non-physical, is encapsulated within that creative divine energy. And yet that energy is something that's completely separate and detached from the realm that we are experiencing, and even the realm of understanding that we exist within. It's so detached and so beyond that, because it's the creator and the sustainer of that, and even the destroyer of that. In terms of like what we understand about creation, sustenance, and destruction, those are limits that we have that the divine does not necessarily have. The divine is kind of acting in a whole other sphere where the concepts of birth, creation, and death were created and enacted by this force, which we call Krishna. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Now, the supreme personality, it seems a little bit like if you come from an ego place, you might think, supreme personality, it's a bold statement. How do you know that it's the supreme? How do you know that it's the best? How do you know that it's the greatest? How do you know that this is the essence? How do you know that this is where it all comes from? Well, we have different texts, and we have different writings, and we have different accounts, like that come from mystics and from sages who have gone through a spiritually scientific process of discerning the different levels of reality in these different modes of nature. And some would even say that just like Catholics think, or Christians think that Jesus was here, lived, walked on water, did his whole thing, performed miracles, crucified, blah, 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 returned back to life, all that, big miracles, wow, wow, wow. That Krishna existed as well. That Krishna in his supreme personal form, with divine qualities and divine insights, divine ability, was able to, through his own potency, which is like through his own ability, manifests himself, comes into this realm, this material realm, at a particular time in history, and gives us, through a sage named Vyas, gives us the Song Celestial, or the Bhagavad Gita, which is a smaller excerpt of a larger story. And in order to properly read and be affected by this, the way that we practice is first we sing, and then we chant. And we chant some holy names, and sometimes we'll chant some affirmation in order to bring us into a joyful state, a reverent state. And it's not singing to impress anyone. It's singing to open your heart, to call out to divinity, call out to God, call to source, call to this wellspring where all life flows from, and say, I'm here, I'm awake, I'm alive, and I'm ready to serve. If you're going to send me something today, whether it's a sign or a signal or a thought or an impulse or a feeling, I'm here and I'm open and I'm joyful. I'm joyful so much so that I'm ready to receive and ready to be part of whatever is offered to me today. And I know that I'm an active participant in that offering. I know that I have to be conscious and awake and available for that. But I want to make myself even more awake. I want to make myself even more conscious, even more available, so that I'm not just in a whatever state. And if something hits me, I'm like, whatever. There's an impulse to, call someone or help someone or cook something or do something or create something. But whatever. I don't really know if I'm going to do that. It's not that important today. It's just a thought. It comes from nowhere. You know what I mean? It's just a thought, comes from nowhere. That who knows where thoughts come from, So instead of taking that approach, we're trying to shift gears, get into a state of, no, there's nothing that's random. There's nothing that's happening just because, and it has no origin and it has no direction. It's just random and illogical. Absolutely not. What I take the position of, and what others who, practice this take the position of, and we take it in many different levels, many different forms. I have all my hair on my head, you know what I mean? I don't wear T-lock, I don't dress a certain way, but there's plenty of people who are monks who are, daily waking up 4:00, 4:30, chanting, 3 to 10 rounds of holy names and japa and singing all day, dancing in the streets, reaching out to people, doing this just on a whole other level. And then there's so many people in between. So for me, this is like my starter kit, right? This is like how I'm like ramping myself up is to say, okay, I don't necessarily vibe with changing my clothes and cutting my hair. And, it's not necessarily where I'm at yet. However, what I do need to do is I need to get myself primed up just like anybody else for this day. Because this day is a holy day for all of us. We are awake, we are alive, we are created, we are having thoughts, and we're having impulses, and we're having ideas. And it is not random, the ideas that you get. The things that you experience are not just happening out of nowhere. It's all happening according to a divine sequence. And the more you can really ground into that and imbibe that into your chanting, when you say from your heart, as we're singing, as we're chanting these holy names, saying, I am part of this plan. I am giving myself over to this. I'm not singing to try to impress. I'm not singing because I'm trying to be in the opera or because I'm trying to be on, a star with the singer. I'm singing because I'm trying to create a vibration within myself that I am generating through the miracle of the body and saying thank you to this body, thank you to this mind, and thank you to the divine body and the divine mind that gave me that gift. Excuse me. And help engage me in the service of that gift. Help me engage me in the service of this divine plan. Get me out of my ego, get me out of my head, and get me into this path, which I'm already on, but I resist it when I think that I'm the one that's in charge. I start creating some kind of, plan above the divine plan or plan around the divine plan. All the divine plan really does is just sits there and goes, okay, if you want to run like a little puppy chasing your tail in circles, trying to create your own outcomes, that's fine. I love you. All good. Do your thing. You're going to suffer, and then you're going to wear yourself out. Then you're going to turn around and you're going to realize this whole really awesome plan was here before, and you could have just sat back, chilled out, looked within yourself, found your pure direction, which is right here in your heart, and then you could have just followed it, and it would have led you to all the experiences that you need. You want to go and create more karma by trying to create more little plans? Fine. Totally fine. It's not even like divinity doesn't even look down on us and go like, no, that's stupid. But no, not at all. It's totally fine. In fact, all of that stuff is actually part of the plan, which is weird. But it's the ways that we trick ourselves into bumping back into what we need. We try to stray so that we can come back. We forget so that we can remember. And the forgetting, the remembering, the intelligence, the ignorance, the light, the dark, the divine, the demoniac, which is where we're at, All that stuff originates from the same place. Flows through all of us, flows through all this world, and then it goes back. So let's sing. Let's make ourselves joyful now that I've talked for 20 minutes straight. Oh, cheers. Stay with joy, love. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Doesn't mean there's not pain, doesn't mean there's not sadness, just sit with it, channel it. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Yeah. Raghunath Prabhu, Ki, Jai. Vrindavan, Ki, Jai. Super Soul Farm, Ki, Jai. Balanced Yoga, Ki, Jai. Bend Yoga, Ki. Sama Yoga, Ki, Jai, Jai. Intentional Wellness and Yoga, Ki, Jai. Wisdom of the Sages podcast, Ki, Jai. When I'm singing and my voice cracks, I look at it as the blessing. It's the place calling out for love, the imperfection that is perfect. Not because it's me, because it's my singing. That's not what it's about. Because even if I sing bad, I sing good. That's not what it is. It's that any voice is perfect. All imperfections are perfect because they're there for a reason. And when I notice what I would label as an imperfection, it's a part of myself that's calling out for love. It's a part of myself that's calling out for healing. And in many ways, when I move through that, when I sing through that, I love through that, it strengthens me, strengthens my resolve, strengthens my ability and my self-esteem. And, Kastuba Prabhu, who is an amazing teacher, Ki, Jai, who is the other half of the Wisdom of the Sages podcast, he made a very important distinction about self-esteem and self-love in one of the recent podcasts. And that we're not really trying to love ourselves. We're trying to develop self-esteem. Love of ourselves is not the object of this. We're not trying to we're developing love for divinity, love for service, love for creation, love for all living beings, but not necessarily a love for ourselves. Self-love isn't something that we have. Self-love is something that we are. Because we are created, we are love. We don't have to give ourselves what we already are. However, oh yeah? What did you think about self-love and self-esteem? Did you see the excerpt either on Instagram or hear it on the podcast about what he was talking about and how I don't know. Well, I'll wait for your response. While I wait for your response, I'm going to get my book ready. By the way, if you're watching this in a rebroadcast and you wanted to ask questions and you wanted to be part of this little conversation that Claudine and I are having right now, you could be part of it. You just got to tune in at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to this channel. This is, for the most part, when we broadcast, unless I have to make a change for either a class or something like that. In which case, if you decided that you were going to become part of it, I would let you know if the change is going to take place. But for the most part, it's 7 a.m. pretty much every day. While she's typing in, if you wanted to tune in and read along with us, we're in chapter 16. Of the Bhagavad Gita. I'm reading the text of Bhagavad Gita as it is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Ki, Jai. And we're nearing the end here of our text, of our sacred literature, which we're moments away from chapter 17, and it's even possible that we might finish today. I don't know. Well, I don't want to rush it. Maybe maybe 2 or 3 days we'll be done, because we still have ways to go, and I talk a lot. So, but yeah, this idea of self-esteem is that we want to hold ourselves in worth and value, and know that we are worthy of good things. We are worthy of respect. We are worthy of more than just the essentials and the necessities in life. We are worthy of happiness. We are love. It's not that you have to become worthy of love. If you don't feel loved, or if you don't feel accepted, or you don't feel good about yourself, then maybe what you're using, maybe how you're measuring yourself, you're using the wrong measuring stick. It could be that here we go. Yes, it was a paradigm shift. Self-love is one step. Self-esteem allows you to share that love. Yes, that myself is love. And that when I have self-esteem, I have the confidence in myself. I have the belief in myself that sharing love is a beautiful thing. Sharing and offering and giving and receiving love is a beautiful thing. And I think that sometimes, if we're going to relate this to the divine and demoniac forces, it's a divine attitude, it's a divine path to give love and to share love, to share our essence. And it's demoniac to degrade that in some way, to take advantage of that in some way. And our goal, our mission is to raise our self-esteem, to become able to wholeheartedly be the love that we are. Now that, if you are from a particular, talk about a paradigm shift, for most men or for most Westerners, this idea of being the love and being, it's very it's just not concrete enough. It's not capitalistic enough. And that's really sad. That's really sad that we hold beauty and weakness in the same category. I mean, that's not good at all. And it's not really acting in alignment with what love is and why we are given love, why we're given our hearts, why we're given good intentions. And this process of reading this and gathering into this state helps us, because we all need the help. Trust me, we all need the help, to remember that we are living in a material world as spiritual beings. That our essence is love, even though our manifestations might not always reflect that love. But if you look around, chances are there's a lot of things that you'll see that are a reflection of love in your life. Like, for example, this mug that I'm drinking out of, my parents got this for me. It was a gift. It came with love. My yoga blocks, right? These are loving because they support my yoga practice. They help to support my body. I have a drum over here that a close friend of mine brought from Africa for me. That came with love. I have a little orange vase here that's got a bunch of feathers in it, right next to a microphone. And both of those things, the orange vase I bought with love to imbibe love and beauty into my home. And the feathers come from beings that are created with love. There's love everywhere. There's love everywhere. I look at this computer. This computer makes so many things possible for me that I love to do, that I can produce music, that I can produce these videos, that I can connect with people. Everything can turn into a channel for love. Or I could look at this computer and I could go, I'm going to go and look and see what everyone else is doing today that's so much better than my stuff. My stuff isn't that great. Well, I have this drum, but why did my friend get me the bigger drum? Now, this drum is small. You know what? It's not really, he doesn't really love me. If he really loved me, he would have gotten me the best drum. He would have gotten me he would have been awesome. You know, this vase that I've got over here, well, it's good, but I mean, I could have done better. I just, you know, it was the best. I'm just sad. I couldn't afford to get anything, you know, nicer. I couldn't get something vintage. I couldn't get something, you know, it's like, there's always opportunities to minimize and degrade the love that's all around us. And that's demoniac. The degradation of the love that exists within all things, physical and non-physical, is demoniac. That's how I'm going to describe it in terms of like my modern interpretation. And if we're measuring based on status, based on approval, based on the desire for more, then we are in a mode of dissatisfaction with the means for creation, with the idea, the essence of creation. And really, if we're in a transcendental place, and that's what we're trying to get to a transcendental state of mind where we look around and go, wow, all of this was created by God. All of this is loving and is love. If I don't see it, that's not because it wasn't created that way. It's because I'm looking at it with the wrong lenses. And this can be a paradox. This is why it's a paradox for Westerners in a lot of ways. Because it puts a lot of responsibility. I want to get to the text. I'm going to talk more about this stuff tomorrow, but we'll come back to this. So getting into the text, we're in chapter 16, verse 21. There are 3 gates leading down to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane person should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. My suggestion to you is take each one of those words, lust, anger, and greed, and take either a day or a week for each. Notice when you find yourself in those states, in a state of lust, in a state of anger, or in a state of greed. Don't criticize yourself on it, because you're only going to notice it after you have become it. At first, it takes a while to actually trace yourself back from that moment of, this is how mine works. My anger, because I did this yesterday with anger. I was thinking about someone that makes me angry, the situation that makes me angry. And I started going off into this thought reel about it. And I started to get angry about what I was thinking about. And then I had to stop myself and go, wait a second, hold on. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to hold on to anger. I am going to let this go. I forgive. And I went back to these qualities in my mind, trying to remind myself. Where is it? Try to remind myself. Patience. I thought this was sooner than this. There's a part of the text where Krishna lists these divine qualities, and forgiveness, tolerance, patience, shyness, freedom from greed, freedom from anger, freedom from lust, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. I started to think, well, which one of these can I lock onto right now? I've already found myself in the anger. I've already had the reaction. So what's the easiest one that jumps out at me that I can grab onto, that I can shift this and transform and transcend? Number one, forgiveness. What am I angry at? I'm angry because I feel like I was hurt. So if I feel like I was hurt, I need to forgive. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, I'm going to hold off on my forgiveness and hold off on letting go until this situation becomes what I think that it should be in order for it to be forgiven. That's conditional love. I want to be unconditional love. So whether I get the exact outcome that I think that I should get or not, what is happening is what's happening, and it's happening according to God's plan. So first, let me forgive myself for thinking that there was ever anything wrong with God's plan. Second of all, let me forgive this person. Third, let me forgive myself again, because it's a beautiful thing to notice. You can focus on the anger. You can focus on that response, and you'll bring yourself down into hell. Or you can shift, and it's a simple divine shift. So simple. Ready for it? You ready? If you notice your anger, then you are one step beyond it. You have just taken one step out of your anger by noticing that you're in it. It's a strange little blurry line there, but you can be in the anger and emoting it and processing it, and then all of a sudden you step back out of it and you go, whoa, I'm angry. You notice that. And then you can make a different choice about it. But when you're in it, and if you're not looking for it, then you never get the chance to step back and become aware and notice and go, whoa, I'm angry. I need to thank God. Thanks, God. Thanks for pulling me out of that for a second, just to give me that 1 second to notice that that's where I went to. And now, don't let me go back there at myself. So I got angry. I didn't want to get angry, but I did. So now I was angry at somebody else, but then it can slowly, or not so slowly, shift into being angry at myself for getting angry. So I don't want to do that either. I just want to say, I forgive. I forgive. And then remind myself. Anger exists. The emotion of anger exists. It's being acknowledged here. There are 3 gates. Lust, anger, and greed. There are 3 modes. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. 3 realms. Heaven, earth, hell. Waking, sleeping, dreaming. 3 is kind of a magic number. Don't pretend these things don't exist. Don't delude yourself to thinking that they're ever going to go away. They're not. The fact that they're being acknowledged here, verse 21, by Krishna, saying, there are 3 gates. There is a hell. Means that they exist. And because they exist, they're part of God's plan. So do not try to deny them. And then do not demonize yourself if you find yourself in that state. Look for the space that says, I'm aware that there's anger. How I express and how I emote the frustration that comes from this feeling of anger is something different than the anger itself. And it's often more healthy and more productive to work on the noticing, to search for it, to say, you know what, I'm not just going to pretend that I have no anger. I'm not just going to try to positive reinforce myself out of this. No, I'm going to admit I have anger. I have lust. I have greed. I'm a human. I'm a human being. I'm a flawed, like my teachers, like Raghunath says, I'm a dented can, man. I'm a dented can with a God-shaped hole in my heart and in my soul. Just looking to fill it with something. So the moment I acknowledge these, I become sane because I'm seeing the world for the way that it is. I'm not just sugarcoating everything. I'm not just sugarcoating divinity. Because then if I do that, if I sugarcoat divinity, thinking that divinity is only love and it's only beauty and it's only the goodness, then the moment I find myself in the awareness that I am in the negative and I'm in the hellish realms of my own mind, I'm going to think that divinity is looking down on me. I'm going to think that I created that hellish realm and that I am the sustainer and that I am the diviner. And then it's like, whoa, God hates me for doing this. I've disappointed or I've betrayed God, who's only love. No. All of it, good and bad, it all comes from the same place, so it's all good. It's the process by which you purify that, which is noticing it, stepping out of it, and then resourcing the divine supreme qualities that Krishna has listed in this book, in this scientific text, which you then apply like medicine to the sickness of your anger, or to the sickness of your lust, or the sickness of your greed. And it's okay to want things. It's okay to have things. It's okay if you're upset that the things that you want, you don't have. Lust, wanting, greed, having, anger, lack. Just as long as you know that the reason why you don't have it is good, even though you don't know that reason. The reason you want things is good, even though you don't really know what you want. Having things is okay, just as long as you're not attached to them being there all the time, forever and ever. Let's move on. Verse 22, one who is freed from these gates to hell, by the way, gates open and close, and they're see-through, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains to the supreme destination. One who acts whimsically, not caring for the regulations of the scriptures, can never attain perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. So if you act whimsically, you're just doing whatever. You might read the book, and the book has all these amazing instructions in it, and it's got all these blueprints for how you can transcend. But if you don't ever follow it, what good is it? What good are you to yourself if you don't actually ground in and follow it? And sometimes I'm hard on myself, thinking that I'm not enough of a monk, I'm not enough of a sage, I'm not devoted enough, I'm not, because I don't like pray over every meal that I have. I don't honor these sacrifices. I don't read the Vedas every single day. I'm not living as part of like a hardcore spiritual bhakti yoga community. I'm still kind of lone wolf in it. You know what I mean? And so I'm a little hard on myself. And in order to counterbalance that, in order to gradually attain to the supreme destination, this act of what I'm doing right now, I know is conducive to that. I know that because I'm promoting the vessel. I'm promoting the channel. I'm sharing the knowledge and the insight for myself to hear first so that I have the daily reminder. And so that, Claudine and anyone else who tunes in, anyone, anywhere who just so happens to find this now has the understanding that spiritual science of yoga is real and it's possible. Let's try to get here. I think we got one more verse. One should understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that they are gradually elevated. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 16th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I got a couple minutes. Let's do a little more reading. Chapter 17, the divisions of faith. Arjuna inquired, What is the situation of one who does not follow the principles of scriptures, but worships according to his own imagination? Is he in goodness, passion, or ignorance? The Supreme Personality of Godhead answered, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, there are three kinds of faith: faith in goodness, faith in passion, faith in ignorance. According to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes they have acquired. People in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons. And those in the mode of darkness worship the dead and ghosts. There are those who undergo severe penances and austerities, not mentioned in the scriptural injunctions. This they do out of pride, egoism, lust, and attachment, because they are impelled by passion. Those who parch the material elements of this body and the super soul within it are known as demons. It's interesting. So when you parch something, you suck the moisture and the life out of it. You suck the fluidity out of it. It's parched, you dry it up. There are differences in eating, in forms of sacrifice, and in austerity and charity as well, according to the three modes of nature. Now hear of these. Foods in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify existence, give strength, and increase health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy and fatty. They are very conducive to the healthy condition of the body. Food that is too bitter, too sour, too salty, too pungent, too dry, or too hot causes distress, misery, and disease. Such food is very dear to those in the mode of passion. Foods prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, which are tasteless, juiceless, and decomposed, which have a bad smell, and which consist of remnants and untouchable things, are very dear to those in the mode of darkness. Okay, we'll continue with more of this. We're going to pick up on chapter 17, text 11. This is going to start to get into a lot of detail about, material things like what you eat, what you say, what you do, and how you actually embody your faith. And if you're anything like me and you're a little bit of a perfectionist, you can be kind of hard on yourself. You think, well, I microwaved some burgers yesterday. Does that mean that I'm in darkness? I like spicy foods. I like stuff that has a little bit of salt. My demon. No. Again, noticing. The noticing is the key to all of this. Notice, make an offering with that which you notice and say, thanks, Krishna. Thanks, God. This is beautiful. This that has happened, this is a gift for me. And I'm so grateful for this. And I realize that this is not the holiest, or it's not the ideal, but this is what I have. And because it's here, and because I'm in the right mindset, and I'm in the right state, I, with my intentions, according to the spiritual science, not just in some random way, not like, Bob's yoga, but like actually the spiritual science of the Gita, sitting here saying, you know what? I transcend. I'm here to transcend, and I'm here to acknowledge that all of this comes from divinity. It all flows back to divinity, and I choose to see the divine even in my microwave burger. I choose to see the divine even in my tap water, even in my leftovers, even in my takeout food, even in the movies or the TV that I watch that may not be divine or spiritual. It's just mindless stuff. Start seeing the divine everywhere and start noticing the parts of yourself. Again, lust, greed, and anger. Take a day or a week for each of those things. Maybe you just, have them written down. I will notice when I am lusting for something. I will notice when I am in anger. Notice that's very different than saying I will fix it or I will change it. Or I will not allow myself to be angry anymore. I will not allow myself to be lustful anymore. You don't have control over that. Material modes of nature are going to jump in and they're going to make you lustful. They're going to make you angry. It's not your job to eradicate the anger. It's your job to notice it and then purify. That being said, you have your homework. You have your mission. We will come back again tomorrow, sing more songs, chant the holy names, try to get ourselves into a positive state and notice how we feel, noticing that the feeling and the emotion and the intensity and the enthusiasm is everything. So I say, thank you so much. Thank you to life. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, harmonium. Thank you, house. Thank you, couch. Thank you, birds. Thank you, trees. Thank you, world. Thank you, divine and demoniac. We need both of you for balance, right? And I am love. I am love. So if I feel unworthy, if I feel lost, if I feel sad, if I feel a lack of anything, I'm going to come back to that reminder. I am pure love. And I am worthy. I have enough to give, and I am ready to receive that which I am. Wholeheartedly. So with palms together, say thank you to this body. Thank you to this space. Thank you to all of our wonderful teachers. And thank you to the practice and the spiritual science of yoga. Thank you all for tuning in today. Hope to see you again soon. Aho. Namaste. Word up. Enjoy. Haribo.